Hi guys, welcome to our video. Today we want to test ride this Mini Tenere XTZ125. The XTZ is a very straightforward, simple bike. I like it of its simplicity. You can see that the odometer is still needle and flick wheel. I don't know what this thing called. Okay, you only get 3 lights. Okay, your signal and your high beam. So very mechanical. The fuel tank is also quite interesting, as the old school style. You get to see this very antique Kickstarter here. It saved me quite a few times during the battery flat issue. And it also has a drum brake. The common misconception about drum brake is drum brake are usually weak. In my opinion, they work fine because the bike is not powerful, so it doesn't need a disc brake per se to sort of like cool it down. This is good enough. We did some changes to the front brake by using steel braided hose and also bleeded the brake fluid, so it's much sharper now as compared to before. It gives you a more sense of security. It is a 5-speed gearbox, decent enough for your average ride. So let us hop onto it and give it a try. So no issue with both my feet firmly planted on the ground. The bike is not too tall. The seat is a bit narrow on the front, but it's pretty spongy. Okay, you can see that the suspension is quite soft. Ultimately, it's still a mini tracker enduro bike, so it's supposed to have a softer setup. So it starts, and let's go for a ride. Because it uses a knobby tire, so when you are traveling around this 70 and above, you start to hear that flapping sound. So when you are riding in a wet weather or wet road, not getting a lot of traction on the tarmac, and you don't feel really very safe or planted. On the dry day, it's perfectly okay. Very normal for knobby tires. And having that soft and long suspension travel is actually very good for moving on all this uneven terrain. Let's try to find a spot that there's no one. You can do a wheelie. Let's try. Oh, so let us zoom around and see what we can find here. It's very light and almost like a mountain bike when you are riding on it. It's very easy and confident to handle. Can I pop a wheelie here? Oh! Okay, a mini wheelie. Okay, I would say I'm still a little bit scared to do it. A small success. So this bike is pretty amazing for its steering angle. You can see that there's no way you cannot get out of tight corners, and it's also quite flexible in terms of moving around curbs. And you can easily head up the pavement and ride on the pavement if you want to. So no issue with this mini bike. It is fun. Basically, you can roll around, no issue with that. Perfect fun little bike. So it's super easy to do a U-turn as well because of the large steering angle. It's also quite easy to squeeze through tight traffic because it's very narrow. The only thing is that the steering is very light, so constantly you have to swing a lot in order to keep it balanced. And I would say that this is the weakest of all class because it's a 125 air cool. Let's try the pickup. That's max. You can hear that sound. Second gear. Third gear. I'm already on full throttle. Third gear. Fourth gear. So I would say that the power is at fourth gear on its highest RPM. But too bad we don't have a tachometer here to see. Too bad we doesn't have a tachometer here to look at its rev limit. The brakes are decent, okay, it's not the sharpest brake. It doesn't give you instant braking power. It slows down pretty gradually, and you need to press it quite hard if you are doing faster speed. And I also realized that after upgrading the steel braided hose, the front fork is a little bit too soft to support the sharper brake, because once you press it will sink a lot. Not a very good feeling, and it doesn't give you a lot of control when you are doing emergency brake. If you want to ride this little bike fast or a little bit more playful, you have to really gauge your braking distance, because the brake is not that strong to get you completely stopped in a very short distance. And I would say that the vibrations on your hand are bearable. It's not very aggressive, it's not very shaky, but it's just a little bit of tingling feeling. Its vibration is not as bad as other enduro bike at this class that I tried, especially the Southeast Asian brand. Like this day-to-day traffic, basically you can keep up, no issue with that. You need to take note that your top speed is around 90 to 110. If it's a downslope, yes, it's 110. If it's an upslope, okay, like this, probably your max is at 80. If you are climbing on hills, you realize it starts to decelerate, although the throttle is hold at the same position. So you need to know your limit, and overtaking in expressway pretty much not impossible but very dangerous, so I would not do that. If you're riding this kind of bike at this horsepower delivery, you will always keep to the first two lanes, the left lane or the center lane. The right lane, maybe if it's a slower traffic like now or traffic jam. When you are traveling on a faster speed like 90 kilometers an hour on proper expressway, the wind resistance is quite strong, so you need to fight the wind. You will get tired on a longer ride. So I want to close up now. You notice I'm on full throttle. My speed is taking a while to build up. You realize you are required to do full throttle on this bike. Once you're on the wrong gear, it's very hard to pick up, so you need to drop gear. I mean, that's pretty common for all smaller CC bikes. The engine brake, you feel it, but it's very minimal. Actually, I like the foot peg a lot. It's quite firm, so your feet doesn't really move a lot because of the sharp claws that they have. And probably because it's very light, so it's very easy to push it around in slower speed. But of course, it doesn't perform on high speed because it's too light. So when you are traveling on higher speed, you felt that it's not very planted to the floor. You can't get best of both worlds. What is he doing there? He or she is at a very awkward situation now. I guess probably he or she tries to beat the green light but failed and got stuck in the middle. So I would say that the seat is comfortable if you sit at the pillion area, which is the further part back of the bike, because it's very spongy. If you sit at the main rider area, it's kind of narrow here. I would say after like maybe 20 minutes or so, you will feel the pressure, not really painful, but you will feel the pressure on your tailbone. So that's a little bit uncomfortable. So because of its simplicity, generally this bike is really easy to maintain. It's just engine noise, spark plug, that's all. You don't need to worry about the coolant, water pump, anything else. And in fact, the valve clearance is possible to do it yourself. It doesn't require shims, it's just rocker arm adjustment. Probably we will also look into the adjustment soon. So if you're talking about my conclusion about this bike, it's really good for daily commute. Easy to handle, easy to maintain, and it's also very light, good fuel efficiency. And the plus point is it can do off-roading in a very safe manner, not overpowered. So it's kind of fun. That's the bonus. Okay, of course you need to upgrade the seat a little to make it more comfortable. And we also have a bar riser here to bring up the handlebar. If not, it will be lower, slightly like 2 cm. If your commute require you to travel a lot on the highway, expressway, then maybe this is not the best bike because it doesn't perform very well on the highway speed. So like we say, anything under 80 is fine. Anything above than that is a struggle. So maybe you want to look for other more powerful bike. I guess this will be a very good start off point for people like me who wants to try enduro. Because in general, you don't need a 450 CRF or a, KLX 300 to do off-road. And based on my experience with Tristan Park, they are only using a 150 KLX, and it's powerful enough to basically run through the whole course. I remember I don't even use the fourth gear in that park. So generally it's always 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 or half clutch. One more thing about 2B bike is that their clutch is really light. So if you are waiting for a very long traffic light, I don't mind holding it the clutch without putting it on neutral because it doesn't really hurt my wrist or my arm. Okay, this is dangerous. This tire is totally bought and it's on the mesh area now. Alright guys, thank you for watching our video on this Mini Tenere XTZ125. See you on the next video. Bye bye.